Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. And we have a special guest today, everybody. We have Sunny Harvin, who's been with us many, many times from the Sunny Harvin team from National Realty Centers out of Northville. She is a special guest today. Welcome, Sunny. How are you today?
Sonny's on mute.
Sunny, you're on mute. There you go. There we go. Hi, son.
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Good. Welcome back. We're glad to see you. You're always a bright light, enthusiastic, knowledgeable. We're looking forward to having you on the podcast. Alongside of me on the podcast, Lisa Lawson, the Google of the office. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, everybody.
And Miss Becky Alley. Becky, good morning. Hi, Becky. Can you hear us?
She's still connecting.
She's still connecting. Okay. Unmute, Beck. There we go. Good morning, Beck.
I'm here.
How are you? All right. Anyways, good morning, Mr. John Cole. We also have John, part of our panel this morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all.
All right. I'm going to open up with this, Sonny. Sonny, true or false? The biggest deterrent right now for prospective home buyers is either A, lack of inventory, or B, mortgage rates. Which one's bigger?
I'm going to say still A. I think that people are starting to realize that the mortgage rates aren't really that high, relatively speaking, and historically speaking, but we are still definitely suffering from a lack of inventory.
I love it. And Sonny, I give that question now to everybody that comes on the show and everybody that comes on the podcast. And 100% of the realtors that we talk to and 100% of the loan officers that we talk to say the same thing. The consumer has settled into the rate. They just want to find a house to buy. So, Sonny, what are you doing right now for your buyers that are out there trying to find a house?
Well, one thing that I always leverage is my relationship with other realtors. Recently, I had a deal with a realtor that I worked with a couple times before. And so I called her right after we saw the house, and she was kind of like, okay, Sonny, make it happen, because people are going to go for what they know versus what they don't know, right? They know how I work. They know I'm going to work to get it done. So that's one thing. Another is just like using alternative ways to find houses, right? We have an advantage if it's not on the market yet, right? So I have a buyer postcards in the neighborhood where people would like to look. I'm open to them working with a FSBO. I have a deal right now where the seller didn't want realtors involved, and my buyers said, hey, we want this house. We know you've been working with us. We'll pay your commission. So just really being creative with finding them, negotiating, etc.
Really getting out and do the work. And Lisa, Sonny brings up a great point. All right. So what? Interest rates are where they're at. Consumers are into that. People are still going to buy houses. People are tired of me saying they bought them when they were 17%. Nobody cares about it. But rates are at 8% right now, and people are still buying houses. So, Lisa Lawson, you've got relationships. You obviously have a great relationship with Sonny. What are you doing in your realtor community and with your pre-approved buyers, keeping them aware of what's going on in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about communication. And, sometimes the buyers get a little discouraged when rates, we may have pre-approved them a couple months ago in the mid sevens, and now they've climbed up a little bit, but we're always updating. We're always explaining how that affects their approval, how it affects their payment. So they have an educated decision, and they're going in knowing that what they can afford. And I think that's a huge part of it. And we keep the agents in the loop too. Sometimes people have a max number in their head. They can't exceed this number. And as rates creep up, that sometimes means our pre-approval amounts have to decrease a little, and keeping them updated and saying, look, we've had a change. This is the situation. This pre-approval that may have been, for example, 250,000. Now the max is going to be 225,000. But making sure that we're all on the same page so the buyer gets exactly what they want. The realtor isn't wasting time showing homes the buyer has no intention of buying. It's a huge part of this process.
Yeah, it's all about doing the work, Lisa and Sonny, and I know you guys are, and Becky Alley. We're running around with our head on fire, right? Our hair is on fire. You can see there's no hair left over there. Um, and we're just doing whatever we can. We're turning over every stone to make sure our buyers are aware of what's going on in the market. And Becky, you've got a lot of activity going on right now. And there are still a lot of people in
she's
your
frozen.
world looking for homes, right, Beck?
Yeah. What I'm seeing is I was just at a buyer seminar last night, and we took a lot of time, a lot of hand holding, a lot of get into details. And I think right now, no matter what in life, you're either a buyer or you're a seller. And right now in this market, the interest rates are affecting the affordability. If you're saying they're not, that's not true, because it is affecting, what people can afford. We are having to make adjustments. But the difference between our buyers that are going out there writing these offers, they're educated, they are strong buyers. And what do I mean by that is they're not desperate. They're giving themselves the time, and they know what their high point is. So they know when if they know how to walk away from a deal if it's not going to be checking all their boxes. Buyers are very informed right now, and it's important to have a strong buyer so that way their boxes are being checked. They know what their maximum is. They know how far they're willing to go, but they're also not afraid to walk away from the deal because they're not acting out of a place of desperation, right? They're responding versus reacting to what this market is. And we're letting them know what the interest rates are changing. We can't control that, but we can set them up for success. So like Lisa was mentioning, they know what their maximum is, and we know if we have to make these adjustments. And that's why our buyers are writing fewer offers to get accepted. I had one buyer literally pre-approved them last night, wrote an offer this morning. We got an accepted offer, because it's all about that communication, but also reaching across the aisle and having those relationships with the listing agents as well. Making sure that they know that our buyers are strong. We're here to compete, but we're also here to close.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that's what's going on. It is a fluid market, John Kolb. The market is fluid. It's ever changing. It's unlike that we've ever seen before with the lack of inventory and the rising rates. But John, share some experiences. I know you've got some buyers that you're talking to. What's going on in your buyer pool right now?
Just a lot of people looking for the perfect home, and that's the hard part, is that not every home fits everybody's checkpoints, and they have to get over that. So people are still in the mindset that they can jump into a home and not have to do anything. I think we're finding more and more, as there is some inventory opening up a little bit, that these homes are going to need a little bit of work. And yes, you're still going to be paying full price for them. You're not going to get the discount. You might not be going over by 30, 40, 50,000, but you are going for a full list price. So we're seeing a lot of that and trying to overcome the buyers who are having an issue with having to do any work to a home.
Yeah, this is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fair Independent Mortgage Corporation. We're here with our special guest, Sonny Harvin from the Sonny Harvin team, National Realty Center out of Northville. Sonny, I want to ask you this. So weekly housing data suggests that instead of a projected increase of between 11 and 17,000 in active inventory, the increase was only 2,200 for last week. So Sonny, moving into late fall and going into the winter and going into 2024, what is your team doing? What are you guys projecting for our area in your sphere of influence? What's going to happen? I know it's a difficult question, but I ask everybody the question. How are you preparing for late fall, early winter going into 2024?
Well, usually this time of year becomes a little dormant, right? We're almost to the holidays. School has started, so families are less likely to be moving because their kids have already started school. But for the last few years, we didn't really see a slowdown this time of year, but we definitely have this year. This has been a better year for me, though, than last year. So it's really since I started 7 years ago, people have been saying the market is going to crash, right? But I don't see it crashing. I see it adjusting. I see it changing. Usually when people tell me about the interest rates, I'll say, but you're paying 100% interest if you're renting, rents are going up. So, just educating people that this is still a good time to buy, especially if you're renting. So we're just using this time to educate people while inventory might be a little bit lower. And like we said, just people understanding that you can't get the HGTV house all the time. Sometimes
There you
have to-
go. But Sonny, people believe what they see on TV, fix it up, do this, do that, then sell it. I mean, it is crazy, but really, this market right now, Lisa Lawson, we're still busy. I mean, we're still throwing in. When I say busy, it's relative to the market. We're getting our fair share, our market share of new activity. And by the way, we're still doing a few refinance transactions, people getting cash out to fix up their home because they would rather pay whatever the current market rate is on a cash out refinance to fix up their home than try to move. I mean, that's a fine line. Lisa, your activity's been pretty brisk. What have you been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, the past week and a half especially, a ton of pre-approvals. It's like all of a sudden, maybe people have realized that the hustle and bustle of summer's over and there's a few less people looking. Some people, I don't want to say give up, but sometimes they put it on pause. And all of a sudden, I've had quite a few smart clients call and say, look, I know summer's over and, the big hustle and bustle's kind of paused. He goes, I want to start looking now. So I've actually been really, cranking out some pre-approvals and getting people ready to purchase. That's really been the biggest thing. I got a couple closings this week. We're always excited to do that as well. But I think this isn't, typically winter and fall and winter, people think, yes, it slows down a little, but don't think that means that, people aren't still moving. People aren't still buying. It's definitely a great time.
Well, I'm here to tell you, along with our panel of Sonny Harvin, John Kolb, Lisa Lawson, and Becky Alley. Becky Alley, it's busy. I mean, if you could be 10 people, you would be 10 people, right? Closing today at 10, closing today at 11, running around, doing everything you can. Share some of those experiences that you're seeing in your market area with your buyers and sellers right now, because there are opportunities out there, right?
I'm going to be honest. I think that this is always a good time to buy. I've always, like the two houses I bought have always been in October, September, because you're coming off of that summertime sadness highs, right? And then naturally you get a little bit more inventory in most cases, even though it naturally slows down. People get in their school districts. But you're not, the homes aren't going to be as accelerated when you're going into the fall, pushing to winter months. So historically for me, my numbers always trend up when it comes to the last quarter of the year and the first quarter of the year, because it's a different kind of grind out there. The people that are out there are very serious, and they're likely to get their homes and their offers accepted much quicker. Refinance activity absolutely has ticked up. I get probably a good 10 calls a week right now asking about refinancing home equity lines of credit. And we talked about on the radio show this past week, homeowners right now, they're locked up by those golden handcuffs of that equity that they have in their home, but they have great interest rates. Well, the issue is that some of them overbought in the last 2-3 years. So now they're looking at escrow shortages. They've been living off their credit cards. They are overextended on their overall debt because as these rates have been increasing, it's been affecting student loans are now becoming uncapped. Everyone has to have payments now. Car loans, those interest rates have went through the freaking roof, and that is affecting the affordability. So there's a lot of individuals where we're looking at this, and you don't know this, but home equity lines, you're going to get a real shock when you call to get one and you find out that rate is double digits. Okay. It makes the 7.5 interest rate on a cash out refinance look low when you're looking at a double digit on a home equity line of credit. So in those situations, it does make sense. I have someone doing a cash out refinance. We're saving them $850. We're foregoing a lower interest rate because the home equity line did not make sense for them to do that. So it's all about what works for you. When does it work? When is the best time to buy? When it works for you, right? When it's a good to rent, when it works for you. When is it time to refinance? When it works for you. Everybody's situation's different. You cannot get caught up in what your mother, brother, sister did even 6 months ago, because their financial picture is nothing to do with yours. And you have to put yourself in the best position possible, because if you're one of those things, one of those individuals like you're talking about, Harry, where a refinance, you need to have the conversations, because in no world will it ever make sense for you to overextend yourself and no longer be able to forge your life. And you're literally you have equity in your home that you can now reset the baseline and put yourself in a better financial position, because that person that's paying or saving $850 a month, if they take half and put it towards a principal, another half and use it towards other things that they're going to pay, they're literally going to pay their house off in 10 years.
Yeah, if there are people out there listening to this
Yes.
podcast, you have got to understand that it's not a one size fits all. And John and I are going to talk about rates, and then I want to go back to Sunny, Becky, and Lisa and talk about programs and be program specific. The however is, if you call other places, they're just going to want to put you in a one size fits all, super fun, happy meal mortgage program. It is not the case. It's got to be specific. And we take the time to educate. And John, right now, you and I like to have a 5-second conversation about what the Federal Reserve is going to do. And why does it matter and why doesn't it matter? Well, why it matters is in November, John, they're set to meet again. The sentiment right now is that they're going to raise another 25 basis points. There is a however now. The however is they might leave rates alone based on two things. Elevated bond levels. Bond levels are at the high in many, many years. That could pause a rate hike. And now the uncertainty of current world events that's shaking the market, and people are going to safety and they're investing in bonds. So that it could stall a rate hike, John Cole. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. The unfortunate events that are happening right now is causing turbulence in our market. And like you said, Harry, everybody kind of jumps to bonds when that kind of happens. Safe haven. The unfortunate thing I think with this Fed is that even if they don't raise in November, I think they'll raise then in January or February. So that's just prolonging the inevitable. And I think they should just halt their increases and reevaluate and get some different minds kind of looking at this, because their thought processes and where they're going with all this, trying to get inflation down to 2% just isn't feasible anymore. So
no, it is not feasible, John. You're correct. It is not, because inflation spiked up again. It was the biggest increase since April. You saw that. But however, is there are world events or other things that are happening now that there could be a pause. I'm not counting on it. The however is rates did go down a little bit, but they also went up concurrently prior to that. So, it's an ever-changing market. And I just want to put out there, everybody, like Becky said, like Sunny said, like Lisa said, like we've been saying forever, it's specific to you on what your financial situation is, your living arrangement. You can never, paying rent is a no-win situation. So, Lisa, let's get in. Let's talk about some first-time homebuyer programs. I know Becky wants to jump in on that too. But Lisa, talk about the DPA programs we have, the first-time homebuyer programs. There are more programs available now for Sunny's buyers than ever.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Michigan. We talk about it. And we've talked about the Chenoa Fund as well, which is another down payment assistance program. But we have others. We've got Lakeview. We've got Arrive. We've got, I couldn't even tell you how many. And these are not locality specific. They're nationwide. So it doesn't mean that you have to buy a place in Port Huron to nationwide program. So there's almost a perfect fit for everything that you need. So maybe you saved enough for the down payment, but kind of forgot about closing costs, or maybe you thought you were going to get a gift from a family member and then something changed and that didn't work out and you only got some of the money, because obviously even with down payment assistance, you maybe need to put a couple bucks in, but there's a lot of ways for us to structure that for minimal investment from you, but you got to give us a call.
I like it. Becky, go into the program you want to talk about right now.
There's definitely some things coming down the pipe. We're always evolving, we're always changing. And to that point, like we mentioned, There's more down payment assistance programs available because it's a lot of times it's not the payment that's the problem, it's the funds for closing. Also, we're understanding that there's a lot of people coming from the outside in, because Michigan, the Midwest, is by far still one of the more affordable areas for people to purchase homes. So now you have investors that are coming in trying to gobble up these duplexes. So they're trying to incentivize those first-time home buyers or the people that are occupying, whether you're a step up, right size, whatever buyer you are. If you're going to occupy the home, they're doing things to purposely incentivize you to get in there and throw your hat in the ring, because we don't want the market to be saturated with all these investment properties in the next 5-6 years. So a couple of things is for city specific ones. For example, we have the Detroit program. If you live in Detroit, you want to buy in Detroit, $25,000 will go towards buying the home. You do have to be a first-time home buyer. You do have to occupy it, and there are income restrictions, but this is life-changing money. If you're looking to buy in the city of Lincoln Park, $14,999, and then also follow suit with Livonia and Westland. So those are city specifics, not to mention Midge, like you talked about, that's 10,000. So all this starts with a conversation with us. We also have programs where you do not have to be a first-time home buyer, and you still can capitalize for these programs, but it's all about having that conversation, locking yourself in, and being a strong buyer. Another really huge announcement we announced on the radio show is if you are looking to buy a multifamily, that is a big thing. It's really pushed on TikTok, right? Everyone wants to be a landlord, build a real estate portfolio. Currently, right now, if you're buying a 3-unit property or 4-unit as a conventional financing, whether you're occupying or not, you need 25% down. Effective middle of November, we're going to be changing that, where all you need is 5% down. That is going to be huge, because in those situations, FHA financing is a little bit difficult for a 4-unit. So these are all things that we are always staying ahead of the curve to make sure that we are giving you hot off the press news to make sure that you are informed as a buyer. And we're not just looking at what's happening now, but what's coming down the road that's going to set you up for success. And I'm really excited about the things and the progression of the programs that are happening, so we can help more people get into homes that is going to suit their needs.
I love that. And as to Sunny Harvin, Sunny, when you're working with a lender, when you're working with Lisa, and she has all these programs for your buyer, when we already pre-approved them, we have the program that's going to work for that buyer. That gives you the confidence, Sunny, when you go ahead and make that offer, correct?
Correct. And from what I've experienced with Lisa, and to Becky's point, I feel like I can just hand the person over to them. I know that it's definitely going to be explained in a way that people can understand. I love working with you guys because you have so many programs, and there is not just a one size fit all. And there's people who've gone to other lenders, and I've sent them to you guys, and they're able to go, and no one else could do it. So it definitely benefits myself and the buyer to work with a broker that just has so many options.
Well, we appreciate that, Sunny. Sunny Harvin from the Sunny Harvin team, National Realty Center out of Northville. And Sunny, we're making a pledge to all realtor partners. We're going to have even more programs coming up within the next couple of weeks to a month, maybe 2 months out, because working on a lot of different programs, a lot of different things. And we're going to be able to bring to the market more things than ever before, because we know to be competitive, you constantly have to be fresh. So this is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, Wednesday, October 11th. We're going to go around the horn. Our last words. Sunny, I'm going to give you the first opportunity and a last word for the day.
It's just as important as ever to have the right lender and the right realtor. There isn't all the 30,000, 40,000 over asking with appraisal guarantees going on, but it is important, especially if you have specific needs, to work with a good realtor who's going to do further than just the MLS, and really, just like you said, go to work for you, because it's still taking work for buyers and sellers. And sellers need to know that right now, if buyers are out right now, they're serious.
Yep, got to do the work.
Did it over the summer.
Got to do the work. Lisa Lawson.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what Sunny said, it's so important to work with a realtor that listens. And that's also why I love working with Sunny. because clients, sometimes you have to read between the lines, right? The body language, like sometimes what comes out of their mouth isn't exactly what they mean. And it's not their intent. It's just sometimes they don't know the lingo, or, we have a tendency in the business, and we've been here a long time, to use acronyms, and they don't want to ask. So, Sunny is always explaining, making sure that the borrower is comfortable, that the borrower is, knowledgeable about what's going on. And that's part of the reason I love working with her, and not all agents are created equal. And, she's a full-time agent. This is what she does. She's available all the time. And I think that's also important in this type of business and in this type of market.
That's perfect, Lisa. Becky Alley, last words of the day from you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you think about buying, the sooner you start the conversation, the better off you're going to be, the more educated you're going to be, and the more confident you're going to be in your decisions. If you're not giving yourself enough time to transition from your temporary housing to your permanent housing, you're going to give yourself an unnecessary amount of stress that we just don't want you to have. So just make sure you start the conversations. Even if you're thinking about purchasing a year out, start the conversation today, because knowledge is free when you're dealing with us. We don't charge you for our expertise. We don't charge anyone to talk with us. But if you need to fix some credit, that might take some time. And we're really good at what we do because we take pride in what we do, and we're going to treat you like family. You are a client of ours for life. And even if you don't end up using us, that's okay. We're still going to advise you, because what goes around comes around. We're always trying to put our best foot forward for anybody that's looking for home ownership and to put themselves in the right position. And if you're out in the Troy area, I'm going to be and I want to announce, we're doing a truck or treat, Capital Mortgage Funding with Thrive Realty Co. So I'm going to be there from 5 to 6:30. Come and say hi. We have over 300 people signed up, for the kids to do the trunk or treat. So that's at Thrive Realty Co. in Troy. I'll be there from 5 to 6:30. We're really excited. And we cannot wait to see everyone tomorrow. I'm excited. Wait for my trick or treat.
And what are we dressing up as, Beck? Are we dressing up?
Well, my trunk or treat, I'm doing the Care Bear stare up in here because everyone knows I love me a good rainbow. So we're going to have glitter tattoos, face painting, the whole thing, but it's fun to kick off Halloween and the spooky season officially, for at least for me, tomorrow.
Perfect. John Kolb, final words for the day.
I mean, just stay informed. Like Sunny said, use a professional lender, use a professional realtor. Full-time realtors are always going to have their nose to the ground and ear to the ground a little bit more than a part-time realtor. I hate to talk bad about anybody, but full-time realtors like Sunny are going to be the ones to go with, because they're going to know what's hitting the market before it's even hitting the market. So stick with the professionals, stay away from the flash. Everybody's got apps, everybody's got websites, everybody's got the BS that they throw around, but not everybody has the knowledge and the intellect like we do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, John. Sunny, you're right. Experience, education, hard work, drive. And also, you know what? We got to have a little fun too. So we're having a little bit of fun here at Capital Mortgage Funding. We appreciate everybody that is listening all around the world right now. Also, don't forget to tune in to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning from 9 to 10. Our team of Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson, John Kolb, Harvey Freed, myself, we always bring you the best guests, the best information, but also consumer advocacy and advice. Don't make that wrong move. Give us a call. Give us a call, 1-800-LOW-RATE, 248-569-7283. For our producer director, want to thank everybody. Roberto Beauchene, thank you, and we'll see you soon.